This is Dan Farisi, Group Director of Content and Editorial, Industrial and Tech at Emerald. So happy to be joined today by Ron Holtdijk, who is Chief Product Officer with Sennheiser. We're going to be talking about a whole bunch of things related to Sennheiser today, including how it has moved very much from being a hardware provider to being a true solutions provider, its upcoming U.S. headquarters move to Nashville, and much, much more. Thank you so much, Ron, for joining me today. I really appreciate you taking some time out for this chat.
Thank you so much, Dan, for having me. It's a pleasure.
Always great to talk to you. And let's get right into it. What I said at the outset was that Sennheiser really has moved from just being a world-class hardware provider to really focusing on solutions providing, a solutions provider. Do you want to talk a little bit about that mindset, that mentality, and how it plays out in the real world?
Yeah. Thanks, Dan. At Sennheiser, obviously, you said this already. We still believe that great hardware matters. In fact, exceptional audio performance remains the foundation of everything we do. However, what has changed is that customers increasingly judge Sennheiser not only by the quality of the individual device, but also how effectively we help them solve customer problems or how effectively we enable their workflows. And when you think about our industry, historically, companies have been focused very heavily on individual products and tech specifications and not so much on problem-solving capabilities. And that's why we're evolving from being a purely hardware manufacturer to a solution provider that combines hardware, software, and services and ecosystem partnerships, because we believe that's how we create end-to-end customer value. And we can't do that by remaining a hardware-focused company.
I couldn't agree more. And again, it's not as though the specs don't matter, but we're out of that mindset, I think, of pure specsmanship. It's really about the outcomes, right? It's about delivering a solution, delivering an outcome, and that is not driven by specs alone.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, that's a great way to phrase it. Customers are buying outcome and not products. And I think this is where hardware alone is becoming increasingly commoditized, right? I mean, if you look at some markets, you can say that consumer-grade technology has become good enough. And as a result, differentiation is coming from not only from specifications, but really it's moving to providing the customer solutions. So I couldn't agree more. Yeah.
So you mentioned a moment ago, Ron, that ecosystem partnership approach that Sennheiser has. I'd like to lean into that a little bit. That open mindset that Sennheiser seems to adopt, the partnership mentality that Sennheiser seems to adopt. Why is that foundational to what Sennheiser is all about, and why does that yield better outcomes?
So Dan, what we're seeing is that the reality is that customers are not buying technology in isolated categories anymore. What they buy or are interested in basically is complete workflows. Whether this customer is in a corporate meeting or has a university or is operating a broadcast facility, they're combining technology from multiple vendors. They're combining existing technology with new technologies. They're looking for a good return on their existing investments, and they are trying to involve requirements with new technology that helps them to seamlessly combine the existing with the new. And that's why we believe that interoperability has become just as important as performance. Historically, again, companies often try to build closed ecosystems, and the assumption is that if you build a closed ecosystem, the overall performance is better. And while this might be true in smaller, simpler rooms, it definitely isn't true in more complex environments. There are many companies out there like Sennheiser that spend years and years in becoming an expert in whatever they do. And we believe that if you combine that expertise of those individual companies into one system, you get something whereby the whole is bigger than the sum of its parts. And that's why we believe this openness is extremely important. That's why we believe that being open and agnostic by design is something that Sennheiser is doing and needs to continue to do also in the future.
I don't think there is any doubt about it. When you take those best of breed solutions in their various areas, and then the integrator is able to integrate them into one fully interoperable, fully compatible system, that is when
Yeah.
you truly get those exceptional outcomes. It's all about playing well with others, right? Not having to own everything, just owning your piece of it and doing that exceptionally well.
Exactly, exactly. And be also sensitive to the fact that, customers have invested in technology also in the past. And rather than throwing all that technology away and forcing their workflows into a technology-led approach, it should be the other way around. The technology should follow the workflows that customers already have. And you do so best by combining the best of different companies into one a system instead of forcing them into one ecosystem.
And that is the secret sauce that integrators bring, finding those ways to creatively integrate those best of breed solutions.
Exactly.
So Spectera, I've been hearing a lot about it. Want to give me an update?
Yeah, sure. I mean, Spectera is probably the best example that we can give of Sennheiser moving away from being a hardware provider to a solution provider. And often when people ask me, is Spectera a new iteration of your wireless microphone system? Um, I guess they couldn't be more wrong. I mean, Spectera is a complete wireless ecosystem that combines hardware, software, control, monitoring, and integration capabilities into one single platform. And often when I get questions, what is Spectera? I always try to flip this around. Instead of explaining what Spectera is, I'd rather explain what problems Spectera is solving in the market. And if you look to the market of wireless audio systems, it's true that over time, wireless audio systems have become increasingly more powerful. But I think it's also true that those same wireless systems have become increasingly complex, right? I mean, production teams often have to manage separate systems for wireless microphones, for in-ear monitoring, frequency coordination, control, and all this means more hardware, more cabling, more rack space, more setup time, and also more opportunities for things to go horribly wrong. And at the same time, productions are becoming more demanding, right? More and more demanding productions there, and also customers are under pressure to do more with fewer resources. And so what customers are really telling us is that what they want is greater reliability, faster deployment, and simpler operation and more flexibility. And this is where we started thinking about Spectera. And with those requirements in mind, we came to the conclusion that an iteration of what we already had was probably not going to deliver on all those requirements that customers have. We had to really rethink and reimagine wireless from the ground up. And this is where we came up with Spectera. So Spectera, I'm proud to say, is the first wideband bidirectional wireless ecosystem. And rather than treating every microphone or in-ear monitoring as a separate wireless system, Spectera creates a shared intelligent wireless platform that manages resources dynamically across an entire production. If I have to put this in simple terms, we're moving from dozens of individual wireless connections to one coordinated ecosystem. And then this is really not a iteration of our existing system. This really is what I think a technology paradigm shift. And the reason why I say this is because traditionally devices in a wireless system need a dedicated frequency, right? With Spectera, an entire production can operate on a single wideband RF channel. And that dramatically simplifies spectrum management.
I love that framing as a paradigm shift. I'll give you a little insight into the way we journalists think
Yeah,
about whether
yeah.
it shows like Infocom or ISC. We tend to think, was this revolutionary or was this evolutionary? And of course, all through the years, you see a lot of evolutionary stuff. This
Yeah.
seems like it's aiming for revolutionary. As you say, this is aiming to shift the paradigm altogether.
To talk about revolutionary a bit, I mean, with Spectera, you have a single body pack that can simultaneously handle both the microphone as well as the in-ear monitoring functions. One base station, The body packs then connect to one base station, and one base station can connect up to 64 channels. The result is significantly less hardware, significantly less cabling, and a much smaller operational footprint. It translates directly into workflow efficiency, and that's why I think this is truly a revolutionary new product and approach.
Well, thank you. Yeah, thank you for that run through. As we begin to close up the interview, I would like to talk about the impending move to Nashville for Sennheiser's U.S. headquarters. I love Nashville. It's one of my favorite cities. So why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, we're super excited, Dan, to move to Nashville. The place we're moving to, and I don't know if you know this, it's called Rock Nashville Campus. And we plan to move in there about mid-2027. And like you said, I mean, who doesn't love Nashville? I mean, if you're in this industry, Nashville is really an interesting place, and that's probably an understatement. So for us, this was not just a change of address. It really is a strategic decision to be closer to our customers and partners and communities that are shaping the future of professional audio. I mean, and the great thing with also Rock Nashville is, I don't know if you've been there, but if you walk the hallways of that place, the people you see there, artists, engineers, front of house engineers, integrators, all those professionals in the industry, they're there, which really helps us, again, to the point I made earlier, moving from hardware to solution providers, to really validate with those solutions, with those people that use the solution day in, day out. Right? It really helps us to work closely with those customers and test new products, validate new assumptions. So for us, it is really a strategic decision to move to this area. Don't get me wrong. I mean, we spent many years happily having our headquarters in Oldline, Connecticut. But if it is all about customer proximity, Nashville probably is the place to go. So we're very excited about that.
Yeah, it's just another testament to the customer centricity that we've been talking about. So thank you so much, Ron. I really do appreciate the time investment. I'm excited about the direction that Sennheiser is taking. And thank you for giving us kind of an inside scoop about everything that is going on within the Sennheiser org.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
My pleasure to have been joined by Ron Holtdijk, who is Chief Product Officer with Sennheiser. My name is Dan Farisi, Group Director of Content and Editorial, Industrial and Tech at Emerald. Please do keep your eyes on commercialintegrator.com in the days, weeks, and months ahead as we continue to report on and do interviews with our industry's leading suppliers, including and especially Sennheiser.